2/3 of Americans are at risk to experience blackout. You could be one of them, sitting in the dark and cold for hours, for days, maybe even weeks. Are you ready to protect your family? You could be with Patriot Power Solar Generator 2000X. Folks say this new solar generator from 4Patriots is worth its weight in gold. Why? Because this generator has double the capacity and is expandable so you can run the big appliances like your fridge even longer. Or other devices like an electric blanket, microwave, RV air conditioner, or even an electric wheelchair. You also get 12 outlets, including 4 AC outlets, so you can power more devices at once, and 2 USB-C outlets, which can charge your phone 20 times faster than a regular plug. Best of all, this new solar generator is fume-free, safe to use inside, and never needs gas, ever. Over 150,000 Americans trust Patriot Power generators. Go to 4patriots.com/VTTGW to get your solar generator now. You'll even get a solar panel included free.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Mental Health Nation? Hope everybody's having a great night. Sorry, I had Facebook up, and so Big Earl was still talking about the commercial, and he threw me off for a second. But hey, hope everybody's having a great day. It's about 11 o'clock here in Italy time, Central European time. Things going very good here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Sorry for the late start. We just had some issues going on with Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and some other things. You can't control that. It is what it is, right? So you just ask screw it, and it'll happen when it happens. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Just want a quick reminder that up there on the right screen, you see that QR code. You can click on that with your phone or whatever. It takes you to Wreaths Across America, where you can donate for the wreath to ensure that the wreath is on a stone there of a fallen soldier, during the holidays. What a great program, and I'm super happy to be part of them. Wreaths Across America Radio, they replay my podcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. It's super easy to find. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. But you just download your favorite app, whether it's iTunes app, TuneIn app, or Odyssey app. Search for Wreath, and then Wreaths Across America Radio comes on, and you just click on it to follow, and all the great programming along with mine. And I'm super happy and super honored to be part of that. And just like Nick was saying, you got the solar eclipse coming on. April 8th, I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to affect us here in Italy so much, but it could affect you in the States. Better go on 4pages.com, use the code VTTGW, and get that stuff ordered. You never know what's going to happen. Summer's coming, storms are coming. It's always good to be prepared. I always had the 3-month rule when I was in Missouri, and even here in Italy, I still have that. I got always 3 months of food, 3 months of water, 3 months of supplies. And so if something happens, I'm pretty much have my family covered for at least 90 days and a little bit farther if we need to. So it's always good to be prepared, right? And so if you've been watching my mental health minutes this weekend, and you notice Lynn's not on, she may chime in too. Like I said, it's been one of those crazy days. You just kind of go with the flow. And if you've been watching Nick's postings on his videos, he's been doing Big Earl on the pooper. You just got to sometimes go with the flow and just let it go down. So Lynn may pop on anytime here. She does. I'm sure she'll talk about Irreverent Warrior and things they have. But if from my mental health minutes, I've been talking about vacation. So, last week, Lloyd was on spring break. And so I had planned this trip for us to go back down to Monopoly. Hello, Brian, how you doing? Monopoly, Italy, because we just love it down there. It's on the Arabic Sea. It's really great. But I had to stay at this very special place. But before I get into that, I have a little story to tell you that happened tonight. So Lloyd has decided to play baseball, and he's never played baseball before. And he went to his first practice the other day. And he's got a lot of good natural ability, which I'm not too surprised by that. His hand-eye coordination is great. He's not afraid of the ball, and he had a great first practice. So today after dinner, he's like, "Dad, can we go down to the baseball field and just practice some? He has practice tomorrow." I said, "Sure." He wanted to practice batting, and so we had bought with his glove that we had gotten a little wooden bat head came with it, and so we took that bat because it's smaller than the aluminum ones that you use. And I thought it'd be good for him because if he can hit the ball with the smaller bat, when he uses the big aluminum bat, it's a little bit bigger target and be able to hit a little bit better. And so we go out there and I'm throwing the ball to him and I'm kind of throwing it slow and he kept missing it. And so I started throwing it faster and he started hitting it. And on his third hit of the bat, I heard it crack. And in 3 hits, he broke his first bat, and he hasn't even played a game yet. So his little bat of honor here for him, and he was quite happy about that. He's like, "Yeah, I saw that. We break a baseball bat." So, hey, it happens, and he was excited. And I was kind of proud of Dad. He's for somebody that's never played baseball, and like one of the dads was saying, he's like, "Wow, your son's never played before." I said, "My son's never wore a glove before." And he's catching the ball and throwing it back, and he's pretty accurate. So, I'm happy about that. But most important, he's 9 years old, so he should just go and have fun, right? It's all about having fun. And I think sometimes parents get too wrapped up, in sports and stuff, and I think as long as the kids find it enjoyable, I think that they want to do it more, right? And at his age, he's learning, and he's done a lot of different sports since we've been in Italy. Because in Virginia, he went to private school, and they really didn't have a sports team. And so he's really trying out a lot of different things and finding out stuff that he likes. And that's really good. That's important. All children, whether male or female, they need to go out and try different sports and try different things. So that's what I did. I just think it's good, not only for their health, but also good for their mental health, right? And, it gives them confidence. They're less likely to be bullied. Some other things, of course, he did Taekwondo and other stuff. Both my sons did Taekwondo. And so I think it's just very important for kids to have a structured environment. And that's just what I feel and always believe that. But hey, with that, you guys do know that I was on spring break, as I did say. Not a wild spring break. I'm old now. But yeah, I think we're going to frame that bat. Yeah, Brian. But so I'm going to have Chris bring up the first picture of the red building. I want to talk about this place here. So this is the first place we went and stayed at, and it's called Masseria Spina. And this is the picture of the compound. We actually stayed in this building. It's the off season, so keep that in mind. So you see the 3 arches up there. That's actually the area that we stayed in. It's one of the older parts of the home, but one of the bigger parts of the home. And if you saw my postings from last week on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter or X, you'll see what the inside looks like. And there's actually furniture in there from the 1700s and 1800s. So it's been the same family has owned it since the 1800s. And it's pretty impressive piece of property. Now, this is only one small part of it. And I want to talk about something that I just find that's totally cool. Chris, can you throw up the picture of the tree with the plaque? I want to talk about that real quick. So and it's kind of hard to read, but I want to tell you what it says. So in the back of this property is olive trees. And I've been learning a lot because, of course, being Greek, I've always had olive oil. I drink olive oil every day. I think it's important. And so I've really been getting educated on the harvesting of olives. What I didn't realize is how long olive trees live. And down in Monopoly, Italy, they have olive trees that are close to 3,000 years old. Understand that. 3,000-year-old trees. And in this place that we stayed, it's a huge compound. It's massive, and I'll talk more about it. But they have these very old olive trees. And when olive trees get really old, the trunks kind of split apart and they become open and they grow all kinds of crazy. And then eventually the tree gets old enough it just stops producing olives. And they harvest olives in the fall. And then it's a process to make olive oil. And, this place has actually been making olive oil for a very long time. The reason I talk about this plaque here is there's a road on this property, and I posted about this, that was built in 109 AD. Think about that. 109 AD. That's impressive. And then there's other structures on the property that date back to the 12th century, to the 9th century. And there's actually a tower. And then on this tower was the one that they used to notify the city of Monopoly if pirates are coming on shore stuff. So if you stand on this one tower, and Chris, I don't know if I sent you the picture of a tower, and if I did, I apologize for that. But from where this plaque is, the tower is like to the left about 50 yards. And it's, of course, it's built up high. And you stand on top of this tower. Yeah, it's okay. I have pictures on my Facebook if you want to go see the tower. And so if anybody listening on Reads Across America Radio who didn't see the podcast, just follow me on Facebook at Clifford Bauman. and you'll be able to see the pictures, everything I'm talking about. But on this tower you stand, you can actually look down towards the ocean. You see another tower, and you see another tower. So if pirates were coming aboard or somebody was attacking, they would shoot fire up in the air to alert the town that we know what was coming in. It wasn't that was the defensive purpose. It wasn't to attack somebody or counterattack. But with inside that tower compound, there was a bunch of caves and different things where they processed the olive oil a long time ago. But they had a built-up wall, and then they carved in the stone going around a gutter system. And every now and then they would have like a carved spout coming out. And where that spout came out, there was a tree. And inside this square area wasn't olive trees. That's the farther out. It was all the citrus trees. So it was lemon trees and orange trees. Now where I'm at in Capena, up here in the northern part, there's lemon orange trees everywhere. But down in Monopoly, it's all olive trees. It's completely different. Topography is completely different. Matter of fact, the grapes they use to do the wine is completely different. And the wine tastes, to me, it tastes better down there than it does up here. But don't tell people that. I might get in trouble. But I was just impressed with the fact that I'm standing on a road that was built in 109 AD. And that was pretty impressive. And, I'm a big history buff. And really, I'm just kind of absorbing everything here in Italy. And it's important, right? And so, I talk about mental health and how it is important to take a break from things. I didn't do my mental health minutes. I planned this trip out to really go out and enjoy, not only to enjoy things that I do, but also, enjoy things that Lloyd likes to do and stuff, because that's important, right? As a family, you need to go out and do things together, and just kind of, take a break from life. I mean, we didn't have, we had cell phones, but we didn't have video games. We didn't really do nothing. We'd take walks at night. And I think I sent you a picture of the cooking class. So so you can throw that up, Chris. I think it's a picture of Lloyd and the chef. And I'll give him a second to find. Yeah, there he is. So I signed us up for a cooking class there at this the Mazara Spina that we stayed at. And you can Google it. I'll type it out here in a little bit. And look at the place online. It's pretty impressive. So we signed up for a cooking class, and you can see the olive oil can there. I have one here. This is olive oil they actually produced on the land from those old trees, and we use it for cooking. But we took a cooking class together, and Lloyd really is starting to enjoy the cooking classes because we learned the traditional way to make different dishes. And one of the dishes we made was pretty interesting. So it's a layered dish in a clay pot. Now, let me think here. We made, the bottom layer was potatoes. Then the second layer was mussels. And then the third layer was potatoes again. And then we put a crust thing on top. And then they bake it in the oven for, I think, 45 minutes. Oh, there was a tomato sauce in there too. Man, that was really good when they come out. What Lloyd's making there is called... it's like a fried pizza, but they baked them. And so what he's doing, he's putting the ingredients inside the dough there, and they fold it over, and then they bake it or fry it. It's pretty much a staple in both. I found both here in Italy where I live now, and then down Monopoly, it's on the opposite side of Italy where I'm at, and it's on the Arabic Sea. So that was pretty nice, and it was a lot of fun. So we stayed there for about 4 days. Traveled all around, went down to... Now, one thing you have to realize about Monopoly is if you like sandy beaches, this is not the place for you, because really there's very small beaches where there's sand. Mostly it's just rock outcroppings and stuff. Chris, did I send pictures of the boat ride when we were on the boat? So when we left this place here, we went down to Monopoly where we stayed before, and I had chartered a boat. And this is one, I'm going to talk about this restaurant here. So this restaurant we actually had dinner at, and if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see more pictures of this. But we had dinner here. So this is the famous restaurant on the cliffs, and they've done a lot of movie shootings in it and stuff like that. I think it's the something pizzeria, Mazara Plazzeria, whatever they call it. But you can look that up, and that was a really cool place. So actually, there's pictures of us having dinner. If you look at the bottom level to the right, we was at the second light. That's a table we sat at and actually had dinner. I don't think I sent Chris the picture. If I did, Chris, you showed up. I think it's at night with us sitting there. Yeah, so that's me looking out over the ocean from my table. So if you want to know where the boat was, the boat's right on the edge of the light. The next day we took the boat ride, so we got to see it from a different perspective. Yeah, right around there, Chris. And that was a lot of fun. So that's famous place to go. It's very expensive to have dinner there, so I would only advise it to have it only once. But the food was excellent. It was awesome, and we just loved it. Lloyd had a great time on the boat. You know, we love fishing, and I just want to throw. I think I threw a picture of it. Yeah, there you go. Now let me tell you what. The joy in that kid's face when we're out there trolling and fishing is worth anything in the world. And I don't care if you're a dad or you're a mother or you're just somebody looking at that picture, but the sheer joy in that young man's face to me was worth every single penny I spent on that boat ride. And it wasn't that expensive. It was about 400 euros. It was a 36-foot catamaran. We had it for 4 hours, just us three on it. And it was just a great tour. And I asked the boat captain, I said, hey, can we bring our fishing gear along? And he says, yeah, sure. He didn't care. So we brought all of the gear on. I said, well, any fish we catch, we're not going to keep. We're going to throw it back. And that was just an amazing time. But I talk about all these things because it's important. Because when you have a bad day or when something's not going well in your life, and maybe you went on vacation like I did or something, and you have pictures on your phone, right? We all have pictures and memories on our phone. If you just take a second and look at one of those photos on your phone that brought you joy, just to change your mindset for that second or that time that's going on. And this is going to become one of my favorite photos. Is just the sheer joy that Lloyd was having on that boat. And we talked about that. I mean, it was just, he was out there trolling. He didn't catch anything, but I think he had a couple of bites. And just to have that fun and have that experience with him was something I remember that I did with my father. We went fishing a lot. Of course, we've always been big fishing people, and that was just a lot of fun. And that was not much of a break that I needed, but it's also a break my son needed because school's been very stressful for him. He's doing very well in school, but it was a big adjustment for him. And kids need mental health breaks too, as much as grown-ups need it. And I think sometimes we forget that. People always say, "Oh, well, kids are resilient." Yes, they are resilient, but they still need a break, and they still need to understand that they can be stressed. They can have mental health issues and other things go on. And so it's important to allow them time to process it in the way that they can at their age. And that's something that I've done. If you remember my story about the boat rescue in the Chesapeake Bay, when I dove in the water and saved 3 out of the 4 fishermen, Cliff Jr. was actually in the boat at that time when he was 6 years old. And of course, that scared the bejeebus out of him. And, there for a long time, he was very nervous to be on the boat to go fishing. And, we talked to him a lot and just allowed him, to process that as much as he could as a 6-year-old. And he got to the point where he just enjoyed being on the boat again. And I don't know, every now and then, even now that he's 20, I know sometimes that sneaks back in his head when we're on a boat or something because you kind of see it in his face, but it comes and goes quickly. So it's very important to recognize that in your child and just know when they're a little bit, stressed out or carry on and just give them that moment, to process it in the way they can process it. It's important, right? Because if they're playing sports, they may be upset because they lost, or they may, unless your Nick's daughter's running because she's not losing anything. And she's being awesome out there, Natalie is, but it's important to allow them to mentally process things in the way that a child processes things. And I think sometimes as adults, we forget that. And I forgot that. I'm not gonna say I'm a perfect father, and I didn't make mistakes. But it's a learning process, right? And the fact that he's smiling that big on his phone, even if he's having a bad day, I can show him that picture, and it would just make him feel this is good at that moment. And I tell you, that went on the whole day. Now, when he first got on the boat, it was a little rough, and so because we had boats before, we went ahead and went out. Well, probably somebody who wasn't used to be on a boat probably wouldn't have made it very far. But I told the captain, said, "Hey, we're boat people. We've been on boats many times. I owned a boat for a lot of years, And after about 10 minutes, Lloyd was okay, from, going up and down. Because we had, I'd say we probably had 4-foot waves that day, maybe between 2 and 4 foot, depending upon which, as we went around the coast, there's rock outcroppings and stuff, and then the waves got worse. Of course, when we turned around and came back, the wind was at our back, and so it wasn't quite as rough. But Chris, throw up the next, I think the photos of Monopoly, the city ones. I don't have them in front of me to know which ones will pop up. I think I sent you one of the moon, right? I think. Let me go back and look real quick. Oh yeah. Stay there. So there's a church, and the last time we went, this church wasn't open, but it was finally open. And I think these are some of the monks that served in the church, and these are that's their actual bones. And there was one in there, I think on the plaque, it was from 1773, and there was another one that's been there since 1776. And yeah, there's one. I think that one's from 1770. Is it 73 or 43? I don't remember. I don't have my glasses on. Let me see here. Yeah, 1793. And there was actually another one that was from 1776. And that was just kind of, I don't know the whole story behind that, but that was just kind of odd to see. And then of course they had, I didn't take a picture of it. There's also a child on the wall. But it's very interesting to go in these old churches and see how different they are. This one had a lot of symbolism to the Knights Templars and other things on it. You see it on the walls and stuff, and the engraved, and that there was a cross that had all the different tools on it. And I posted that on Facebook. So if you want to see more pictures of it, I'll post some more stuff on Facebook. But yes, Brian, that was very creepy to go through. And we told Lloyd that they were dolls and fake, so he wouldn't be scared, because we had no idea, because when you walked in the front doors, you kind of walk through the main area of the church, and then they lead you go out. And then as you're going out, you walk through this room where these monks are. And they celebrate them, right? It's part of their culture. It's important to them. But people are quiet. They allow you to take pictures, but no photos, no sound. And it just a very interesting and odd thing for me to see. Because we don't see things like that here, the catacombs and stuff like that. And I can't wait to go to that. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. It's on my list. But that was very interesting. And then if you go, so that night we were out walking around. I'm going to do the zoo part last. And so we went upstairs to the place that we were staying. And I took this photo. Now, this photo looks like it's the sun rising, doesn't it? That is actually the moon rising over the ocean. That's how bright the moon. It was a full moon that night. And I just took it through. There's like an old chimney, and I looked through that and I took that. And to me, that's a pretty amazing photo. I'm not a photographer by no means. I took that with my iPhone, 13 or 12 or whatever the heck I had. I think it's 13 Pro Max I have. And I just thought that was an amazing photo. I might have that turned into a painting of the moon rising up over the ocean. And, I just think that's a pretty impressive picture. Now, for me, if I was stressed out at work, or, wanted a nice screensaver, to me, I would have that as my screensaver, because I just, to me, to look at that's very relaxing. I find the water very relaxing. There's another picture of it, another version of it. Now, that picture shows you how bright the moon was. And I think that was taken, if I'm not correct, about this time at night, probably 10:30 at night. That photo was taken, and so you can see just how bright the moon was when it came up, and that's pretty impressive. So, if you're ever thinking about coming to Italy, of course, people say, "Oh, well, you have to go to, I don't know, all the other major places they say you go to." Monopoly, you got to put on your list, because it's very old, and you'll see all the things that you'll see. If you go to all the major popular places like Rome, or, Tuscany, or all those other places around there. Monopoly is very nice. It's very kid friendly if you have your kids with you, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to see. And you actually have areas where there is sandy beaches, and so that makes it really nice to go and see. And it's just a good relaxing time. Of course, we love collecting sea glass, and of course, once again, we collect a bunch of sea glass down there. And so while we were down there, they have this park slash zoo slash park. And so Lloyd wanted to go to the zoo. So this is called Zoo for Safari. And this is probably one of the most amazing zoos I've ever been through. And I'm sorry for the people listening on Reads Across America Radio, but you can go out to my Facebook and you can see this because, it's very important to remember things that make you happy. I said that earlier on. And so as you go through this zoo, now we're in my little Toyota Yaris 4-door, which that lion there is about the size of it lengthwise. You're driving through this. And so to go into there was about probably 30 lions, male and female, inside this enclosure. And so you start through the park, and at the top, there's some deer and goats and stuff. And then you wind your way down, and then there's this massive gate. Like you're going through Jurassic Park. You guys remember the movie Jurassic Park when they go through the gate, the first gate, and then the second gate? And so you had the big first gate, and they open it, and then the guy waves you through, and then he shuts it. And then he opens up the second gate, and if you see the road down there, it just kind of winds down through this. And you're in your car, windows rolled up, unless you're stupid, and you just slowly drive through, and these animals are like these cats are 10 feet from my car. And I'm sorry, but I did not realize how big lions are. And these are the males. And I think there's another picture of a female. If you see that kind of mountain on the side there, a little rock, she's laying on top of this rock here. And I think I sent that one to you, Chris. Yeah. And she's just sitting there looking. I didn't realize how big the female lionesses were. They're huge. They're massive. Because you see them in the zoos in like Kansas City Zoo and the Springfield Zoo and zoos that I've been to. You're not that close to them, but you were close to these. Now, I didn't send Chris. It was my fault, but I'll post pictures out there. But so when you leave the lion enclosure, you drive out, and it's the same process. You go through one gate and the second gate, and then you go through the tiger. Now, I was not nervous in the lions and the lionesses enclosure too much because it was midday and they were kind of being lazy. When you went into the tiger one, and there's probably 20 plus tigers in there, and as you drive through, kind of like with this lioness is on a rock, picture it, it's a huge tiger laying on this rock, and he's maybe 8 feet from my car, if that. I'm trying to find a picture. I don't know if it's on my phone. I think it's on her phone. And he's just sitting there looking at us like we're dinner. And he gets up and he's just looking right at the window. Lloyd is sitting on the driver's behind my seat, right? And he jumps over to the other seat, right? And he's on Crystal's side. That tiger gets up, walks right by my window, and he's halfway looking through my window, and he goes around to the back of the car and he bumps the car. I was hoping he scratched it, but he didn't, because then I could tell a good story about how my car got scratched. But he bumps the back of it and kind of whacks it with his tail as he walks by, and he kind of wanders off. And so I thought, wow, that's pretty intense. And then you drive out of there and you go through, and Christian threw up the picture. They had a whole lot of elephants there, probably 50 giraffes. It was just like a real safari. Just kind of, there's one of the elephants there. And you just kind of drive through it. And I have never been, I think that's it. I've never been that, yeah, there's the rhinos. I've never seen so many rhinos in one. There was probably 6 or 8 different rhinos. Now, I don't know if those black rhinos or white rhinos. I don't know the difference between them. But, I mean, look how close he is. I mean, that's in my car. And I rolled the windows down because they had bars up when we got out of the tiger and lion thing. But I mean, he's literally. I mean, I could probably reach my hand out and almost touch his horn. And so that's pretty impressive. And then they said, "Hey, we're going to have a show, like a water show." And so we went up there, and they had the sea lion show, and it was kind of fun. It lasted about 30 minutes, and the sea lions got up and they did, a lot of tricks and things and stuff like that. And Lloyd got a big kick out of it, and he, the sea lion splashed, but you can see how close the seat is to that sea lion. I mean, that dude could just take one jump and he'd be on everybody in that front row. I mean, he didn't, but I mean, I'm just thinking, wow, if you go to SeaWorld and other things like that, you kind of back farther away from them. But I guess in Italy, you can get right up and close. And in one of the rides, so this is still part of the zoo. This is the walking part of the zoo now. You're out of the car and you're walking around. Is a lot of these areas in this zoo is actually you were the person in the cage. And so in this one area, you get into this train, and we weren't too for sure what it was, but it was a tram. And you get into it, and the guy locks you in. He actually locks the doors. And then you drive through, and you're going through where the bunch of baboons are. And as soon as you hit in, these baboons start jumping on the cage, and they're rattling it, and they're trying to get you to get them food. And that was probably the worst, the ride. I didn't like that so much because if you guys don't know about baboons, I was afraid they're gonna, piss inside the cage or throw poop on you or something. But they didn't. But I mean, literally, you are the animal in the cage, and they're looking at you, and they're jumping all around the cages. They're crawling around the top, the sides. The mom's got the little baby with them, crawling around the backs and stuff, reaching their hands inside the cage. And that was kind of crazy. But it was a lot of fun, but it's kind of crazy. And so if you go to Monopoly, you have to go and visit the zoo safari. It was a lot of fun. Christian, go ahead and take that down. I just wanted to share a little bit about what I did on spring break because as you can see it, I really enjoyed it. And I got home and I was thinking about what to do for mental health minutes. And, it's getting late here. And that's why I want to talk about, vacation blues. And I'm going to wrap up tonight with this, talking about this is, when you go to vacation, man, you're just all ramped up. You relax. You don't think about work. And then you come home, right? And so we came home Sunday. We thought Lloyd didn't have school on Monday and Chris didn't have to go to work. But we come to find out that the holiday we thought went on wasn't. So because we have Italian holidays here along with the American holidays. And so they both had to go to work. And so, we had a whole lot of things to do with being gone. Of course, now it helps that, I'm retired and I stay at home. And so we had a lot of laundry to do. Of course, we had mail to do. We had all these things that were just piled up. And, for me, when my brain works, I got to get everything done right now. I didn't do that. And I think it's important that when you get home from vacation, that you don't think you have to get everything done right at once, right? You've been gone for 2 weeks. You've been gone for a week. However long you've been gone, everything in that house was fine while you were gone. If it takes you another week to get everything straightened back up again, so be it. What does it matter? It's set like that for a week while you were gone. Why not take your time and just get things in order as time goes on? You don't have to do it all at once. And that's how I used to always be. I would stay up late at night and get laundry done and make sure everything was clean and all that. I just don't do that no more because it's way too much stress. And then when you go on top of you going starting back to work, it makes things even worse. And then so, I picked today because Wednesday's a podcast, and I talked about that. If you're on vacation, let's say you went to the beach, like we went to the beach, the second part of the trip, and for a couple of days it was horrendously windy, like 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. And so the day after the weather got terrible. And so you really couldn't be on the beach. I mean, we still went out there a little bit because there was one beach kind of that was below the wind, but we had to watch the tides. And we still went out there and enjoyed it. But, maybe it was raining or something, and maybe you and your family did maybe play board games. Maybe you got used to taking walks at night. We still went out and walked at night even though it was windy. And, now you're back home. Why can't you do that stuff back home? But that's something normally you can't do. Why can't you as a family after dinner, if you went and walked while you're on vacation to go out and walk and talk and talk about what went on in your day or what went on that week or or maybe you guys want to sit and play a game or something like you did on vacation. I mean, because sometimes I think we forget we can do things at home that we did on vacation, right? As a family, or if we're not with somebody, or even if you're by yourself. And I think that's important to remember that, especially, it's a stressful time. All my postings this week on Facebook have been about vacations and stuff. And I think it's always to remember the good stuff, right? And the stuff that brings you joy and the stuff that makes things less stressful in your life. Because really, we only get one chance to go around here. We need to make it as happy as we can make it, and as happy you can see things. And I think that's so important. And it's something that I try to help people with the podcast, and Veterans Trash Talk does also with all their programming and all the silliness that we do together, because it's all important, right? Because I think nowadays people have forgotten to laugh, right? I don't have my shirt on. I wore the old school Veterans Trash Talk shirt, but don't be a triggered pansy, because so many times we allow things to trigger us that shouldn't even bother us. And just like when you're on vacation and when you are having that good time being away, don't worry about it. It's like today I was driving to the store. Right? I was going to Dodeca. It's about 8 miles away. Italians drive crazy. Talked about it. And so I was exiting off the highway, and there was a truck in front of me, right? And he was hauling something tall. It was like a window or something, but it wasn't quite strapped down as well as it should have been, maybe. And so I was a little ways back, and he was going slow around the corner where Italians are always in a hurry. And so the guy behind me was like, flashing his lights. So I just kind of went over to the shoulder, and he zoomed around me and just about rear-ended the truck in front of me. And I was just laughing at him, pointing at him, you dumbass. And then, because I was going slow because the truck in front of me. But hey, if you don't believe me, if you want to go around me, I just thought it was funny. And then he, takes off, and of course, he's zooming in and out of cars, flying down the highway, black smoke rolling out because everybody's got diesel over here. And then at one point in the road, it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 to go around this bridge. And he got stuck behind 2 tractor trailers. So through all that, he kept getting stuck behind trucks. And I just thought it was funny. I driven in Virginia long enough. I don't get road rage. I don't get upset. I just think it's funny when they do. But he almost rear-ended that truck, and that would have been funny. I would have rolled down my window and laughed at him. A little bit louder for that, because that's what you get for being stupid for something that was going to last for 5 seconds, maybe not even that long before we got up to the highway to go around him safely and move on. But it is what it is, right? It's just funny. And so, I'm going to wrap things up here. It's getting late, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, going down memory lane. I think it's important to take a break every now and then, go out and enjoy stuff. And hey, summer's coming. It's going to get hot. It's a perfect time to order your copy of the Mental Health Warrior. You can sit inside your nice air-conditioned house and get you a good read on. It's available through my website, cliffordbauman.com. Right? That's how you spell my name, Clifford Bauman. Or you can go out to Amplify or, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever you get your books from. But if you order through my website, I'll sign it and send it out to you. And just like I said before, up there in the upper left-hand corner, you see the QR code. You can scan over that. You can donate to Wreaths Across America. I think it's about $5 for a wreath to ensure that the wreaths make it. My area is still Arlington Cemetery. But, if they oversell Arlington, then it goes out to all the veteran cemeteries all across the nation. So it's very important. I know I donate to it. I know a lot of veterans donate to it too. So if you have an extra $5 laying around, go ahead and click on that and donate. It really helps. And of course, you have 4patriots.com. They have the survival food out there, the generators. Nick talks about it at the beginning of the program. I talk about it at the end of my program. It's always good to be prepared. I mean, why stress you out on stuff if something happens, right? This stuff's not going to go bad. It's going to be around for a long time. You're going to lose power at some point. Maybe you're going to go camping. You use that solar generator when you go camping to keep things going, or run a fan, or keep your cell phone charged or whatever. We're planning on doing a lot of camping here. I just bought some really cool camping stuff, so we're looking forward to that. So you gotta take a drink of water. So I found out today I was out. If you watched my mental health minute from today, I was out swabbing my decks because pollen was everywhere. And I was out there acting like I was in the Navy swabbing the deck. I thought that was funny. But my neighbor was telling me while I was cleaning it, she goes, well, I think in a couple of weeks or so, they're going to get the red dust up from the Sahara Desert. So I guess that's a thing here too. So I guess we'll find out how that is. I'm going to find out all kinds of crazy things living here. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Really, I want to thank everybody for the support. Be sure to go out and follow me on all my social media. Be sure and follow VeteranTrashTalk.com. Hopefully, Lynn will be on next week to talk about the big Irreverent Warrior event that went on last weekend while I was gone. And really, just take a time for yourself. Take time for your family. And if you're having a really bad day or things aren't quite going right or you're stressed out or if you're stuck in traffic or something's not, just not making you feel good, pull up that photo like of Lloyd on that fishing boat and that big smile on that boy's face and just think about that. And, that'll help you turn your day around some. But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great week and we'll see you next week. Take care.
This is a food warning. The UN warns of an unprecedented global hunger crisis. In fact, it's predicted by 2030 that 800 million folks will struggle to feed their families, which means two dangerous things for you. Number one, higher prices at the grocery store. Number two, less food available. And when panic strikes, it will be chaos, making it even harder to get the food your family needs to survive. That's why it's vital, more than ever, to have a survival food stockpile. Introducing the deluxe 3-month survival food kit from 4 Patriots. It has 688 servings of meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with delicious recipes like pancakes, mac and cheese, Aztec chili, and potato soup. They've even got spaghetti and lasagna. This isn't your typical survival food, and over 200,000 smart Americans agree. This is survival food that actually tastes good. But best of all, it's designed to last up to 25 years. You can stash it away and be confident that when a disaster strikes, you and your family will be ready. Go to 4patriots.com/VTT to get the deluxe 3-month survival food kit and the peace of mind you